I think it's important to keep an eye on the clock throughout class. So don't wait until the end of class when you realize, oh man, I have only 5 more minutes and I have 12 slides to cover. So taking a look at the class timer throughout class, making sure if 5 minutes have elapsed, I'm about on slide 5, 10 minutes, I'm about on slide 10. Of course, timing on each slide might vary. The other thing I think to keep in mind is sometimes we have to make a difficult decision. In the lesson with Sylvia, for example, she did not master pronouncing class. We produced it several times over and over again. And I don't know if it's because she has teeth missing, but she was not able to produce the CL sound correctly. So knowing when to make a note to yourself and to move on. So I made a note in this situation to myself as well as to the parents. And in next class, we will practice that word again. But I think sometimes we have to make that difficult decision in order to make sure the material is covered.
So I do find that I need to be a little cautious there. But I have a hard time not extending when the student really is having success and they're enjoying the lesson. So really it's a matter of watching the time and watching the slide. What number am I on? What time? How am I doing there? That kind of thing. And knowing what's coming, I think, is very important. So now where we might have blending toward the end of the lesson rather than the very beginning, a student that might struggle with that, I need to remember that that will be coming and save time for that. So I think that the timing, the pacing definitely comes into the framework of planning, preparation, and observation of the time. So we're being aware of what time it is and what slide we're on. And then understanding that, okay, if we're struggling on this, how can I simplify so we can move on? And then we can always come back to it if there's time. Depending on the student's ability, but really depending on watching the flow of the lesson, trying to know what's still left to cover in the lesson. So of course, if we're reaching the end and we're ahead of time, I know that I have plenty of time to extend. If the student struggles early on, then I'll know that I really need to stay right within those objectives until we've mastered that at a more appropriate level, until we're really working on extension and different things like that. But I really think too that that watching how the student is responding will really give me a clue to the level of extension that's possible. So as we're watching the student find success, and then we're able to extend, and then I go back to make sure that the student remembers. And again, that's another opportunity for repetition. So as the student can use that sentence frame again, as we approach the end of the lesson, then we're going back. And that's, to get back to the first part of the question, how do I make sure that we reach those objectives? To constantly go back and check, make sure that that sentence comes up again, or that question. Where do you sleep? I sleep in a bed, and see if the student remembers that after we've extended to other things, and it's going back, checking again. Okay, did we cover that? How well does the student remember that?